Good evening. Welcome to I'mPossible Conversation, the conversation where ordinary people share their extraordinary stories. Tonight, my guest is Rebecca de Wessington. She is one of the most talented people I know. She's recently created the sea glass company, and her business is booming in my eyes, because I've been following her from start until now. So that's the reason I've invited her to I'mPossible Conversation. Oh, hello, Jan. Lovely to see you here. How are you doing? I interviewed Jan last week, and since then, I've started doing loads and loads of self-care. And it's lovely to have you here, Jan. So now let me bring Rebecca, because I can see Rebecca in our green room. It's not 8 o'clock yet, but we will just wait you guys till 8. Hi, Rebecca.
Hi, Suki.
How are you doing? We are a little bit early. We are a minute early, but hey ho, we'll just chat and wait for a few people to jump in, yeah?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How's things for you?
Good, thank you. Yeah, really good. Had a chilled weekend for a change.
Mm-hmm. What's your
nice.
chilled weekend like?
Still making things, but not feeling under pressure by anybody, and just doing it because there's no phones ringing or messages coming in, or it's just quiet. It's me and my space. And then I've been out to Amble today, and I went to a cafe restaurant type place, which is all based around Northern European, sort of got a Germanic feel to it. So bratwurst and beer and pretzels and that sort of Northern European, Scandinavian feel about it. So that was really nice. And I had a little walk around Amble, and then went for another cup of tea because Jason wanted a scone. So I had to go and must have scone. That's what he went out for.
Yeah.
So I was sitting there with my Slimming World bar. Watching.
It's awesome. Right, so it's 8 o'clock. We've got a few people in. Shall we start?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not, because I can't really see who's watching. So maybe there are people we might not know. So could you please introduce yourself to those who may not know us, please?
Okay, my name's Rebecca de Wessington. I live in the lovely New Bigham by the Sea in Northumberland, on the Northumberland coast in the northeast of England. I am a mum of 4 grown-up children and a grandmother of 8. And I set up the Sea Glass Company this year as a result of lockdown.
That's interesting. We're going into lockdown and you are setting up a company. How did it start? Tell us more, please.
So basically I run 3 businesses, and one of the other businesses, which I considered my primary business, the work was either postponed or cancelled as lockdown came. And my fiance is self-employed as well, and he works in the arts a lot. So a lot of his work went as well. So we went into a little bit of what we're going to do. And then, so then we did the digital thing that everybody did, where they went online and tried to really work very, we tried to do it slowly but surely. And then we said to each other, how can we get through this? Because we know we will. And we decided that we would help people. And the other thing was, I'm a bit of a child when it comes to saying you can only do this at this time, or you can't do this. So when he said you can only go out for a walk for an hour, I went, right, I'm going out for a walk for an hour, because because that's the only time I can go out. So I'm definitely going. And I became a little bit of a petulant child about it. And to be honest with you, I hadn't really gone out for a walk an hour every day before, which I should have. But you don't, do you, sometimes? And when you're told you can only do something and you can only go out for an hour, then you're going to go out for an hour. It's a bit like child. You can only go out to play for an hour, and you've got to come in for your tea. And it felt a bit like that. So we went and did some exploring, and we went further afield, but not out of walking distance. We didn't go in the car or anything because you couldn't. So we just explored either side of where we lived. And one day we climbed down a cliff and went onto a beach, and we just sat there by ourselves, because a lot of the time we were by ourselves on these beaches, which was fab. And you felt connected suddenly. Although you have it around you, there was this connection going on. How there were different. We had amazing weather, as you know, springtime weather, which we'd never known before. Let's face it, April, May is usually just dire. But we had this beautiful weather, and we just kept going down on the beaches, and we went down on the cliff, and we're just sitting on a big boulder and just scrabbling around in the pebbles, looking at nice stones, as you do. And normally you don't take the time to do that. You'll maybe walk along the beach, but you don't actually sit on it and just stay there and be present. So we did that, and then Jason showed me these little bits of glass, and I said, "Oh, what's that?" And he said, "Oh, it's sea glass." And I went, "It's what?" It's sea glass. I said, "Well,
you didn't even know sea glass existed at that time."
No.
Okay.
And I went, "Oh, what's that then?" And he says, "Well, glass from the sea." And I went, "Well, yes, but," and he says, "Well, from ships, and there used to be a glass factory in Seaham, and then obviously it's an industrial, the northeast coast, and it's a shipping lane, the North Sea. So things happen and tides happen, and what happens basically, which I found out later, what happened with the glass. But we have these little bits. And I was like, oh, it's like having little jewels off the beach, and the sea's giving it back. And we went home, and then we went back the next day to another beach, and we found some more glass, and then we found some more glass. And before we knew it, we had a little book, like, those round vases, like little fish bowls. It was full in 3 days, just full.
Oh, wow.
And I said, "Look, Jason, I'm a declutter coach and a personal organizer, and I can't hoard glass just because it's lovely to pick it up and find it. But also because it's man's rubbish, in a sense. By taking it away from the beach, you're recycling, you're taking away man's rubbish, in a sense. And so you've been gifted." And just searching for it got me back into my childhood, and in sense of, when you're a child, when you go out for a walk, you notice the blades of grass, you notice the flower, the colour, the smell, what you see, what you hear, and you notice it. And all of us, I think, when we were going out for these walks, we're getting back to that childhood where we're tapping into our senses, in all of our senses, and what we saw. And it became very meditative. So he would go off a couple of meters away, and I would just be either sitting or squatting and just looking around in the pebbles, and it became almost like a child treasure hunt. And all you'd hear on the beach was, "Oh,
another one.
I've got a blue.
I found it.
I've got a blue. Oh my God, I've got a red. I've got a red." And almost hyperventilating if you get a red. So he's never found a red. He's never found a red yet. But I've got a few tiny bits of red, and they're quite rare. If you imagine when 1800s, 1900s, if you imagine coloured glass, so the more sort of bright, vibrant colour, the rarer it is. So we used a lot of white, we used a lot of aquas and greens. So suddenly this glass was coming into the house, and we were washing it, and we were looking at our treasures and what we'd found. And he says, "Look, Rebecca, you're a creative person. Do something with it." And I went, huh? I says, "Well, I've got this business, and I've got this business." And then I thought, you know what? Why not? So I started looking on YouTube. I just put sea glass. That's all I did. And then I saw this wire with a wrapped wire around it. And I thought, I could make jewellery. And then I thought, but I've never made jewellery in my life. But why not? Just start. So I started learning how to, and it's not easy. I bought some wire off Amazon. Sorry, I did go to Amazon because it's dead easy and it had some. And
One-click purchase.
so I went and got some wire and I started wrapping. I thought, I like this. And I got a couple of pairs of pliers and I started wrapping. And then, because I was in the house, my fiance said, well, why don't we clear the cupboard at the end of the yard, which has now become the yarden, because we'd done our yard, like everybody had done their garden, we did our yarden. And we had this beautiful, pretty yarden. And there was this cupboard at the end full of bikes and children's stuff, and they're all grown up now. Jason's kids are all grown up. So we just cleared it out, and we hired 2 skips, that's how much was in there. And we cleared it out, and we sold loads of things. I did all my decluttering hat on. I said, right, we can sell this, this and this. And everything that we sold more than covered the skips. And then I painted it. Oh gosh, that was a labour of love. And put a table in, and then suddenly things started to appear. So in Aldi, there was these like big, massive picnic collapsible table that was like 20 quid or something. Just said, I've just seen a table. I'll get it for you. So I put the table in, and then I started sort of making little bits, and I was sitting in there, and I was like, oh, it's like being in my own little playhouse. I never had one as a kid. I really wanted one. I really wanted a playhouse, and I never got one. So I had my own little den, and I started making sea glass jewellery.
Wow, what a story. I'm wondering, like, so Jan, hi Tove, and Linda, and Tove and Jana here with us. Just wondering if any of you done something like what Rebecca did. Have you adventured any new talents during the lockdown? And if you have, please let us know. And so that's how it started. So where are you now? So because like I followed you like for a long time, since you're talking about your skips and the garden, and it was all documented throughout because I follow you. The thing is, it's fascinating to watch from start up until now, and look how many, like so many different beautiful jewelries. And I'm sure, and you mentioned about it was your first time doing this. So is there any does mistake happen? What do you do?
So being a creative, I've done a little bit of needle felting and things like that, but it's been very hobbyfied as such. When this started to feel more than that, and about a month in, I got a commission in, which I'd already done one piece, and they wanted the similar piece in a smaller version. And I always say to everybody, and this is absolutely true, every piece of jewellery that you get from me, nobody else in the world has it. Nobody, because you can't duplicate sea glass. You can maybe have similar shapes, but they all have their own individuality, just like we do. We're all individual, we're all unique, and so is every single piece of sea glass. So to duplicate anything is, I can get similar, but each sea glass works differently. One night I sat there and I was getting in a bit of a rage with myself because I'd already done this design once, and I thought, I've done it once. Why can't I do it now? And I was like, And every time I went like that, it went in, I call it the wire bin, because I don't actually throw any wire out, but you could maybe use it later. 10 times I did this design, and I stayed there till midnight, and I thought, you are not going to beat me. I am going to get you done tonight, and I don't care if I have to sit here till 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to do it. I didn't. And the reason I didn't was because I was in a mood with myself. And the more I did and the more I tried, the more stressed I got. And I just thought, right, at midnight, I thought, right, do you know what? It's not happening. I've done it 10 times. This is ridiculous. So I need to go to bed and get some sleep. Because bearing in mind, this is a new journey. So I was looking at YouTube clips at midnight till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And then I was waking up 6, 7 o'clock and looking at YouTube clips because I wanted to learn. I was hungry for learning.
Obsessed.
So obsessed.
Yeah.
So that's it, and became very passionate about it. And then I did it, and it went out, and the client was very, very happy. And I got very, very frustrated with myself. And what I learned was that I've also learned since, I've been doing it 18 weeks now. This is my 18th week. And I've learned that I shouldn't do wiring at night. I'm too tired. As much as it's lovely to create stuff, I shouldn't do anything serious. I can play, but I shouldn't do a commissioned piece or a piece that I want to sell at night. And I've learned that about myself. I'm much better in the mornings and creating wire in the morning with the daylight and just concentrating, because some pieces have taken me 5.5 hours to make. And that's a long time. And sometimes I forget to get up, because once I'm in flow, that's it. I'm in flow, I'm in the zone. And I just stay there. And I used to do a bit of painting before with pictures, and I had to finish it on the day, because it's all about your mood and where you are, and about the wire and how it's working and the shape of sea glass that you've got. You get into a flow with it, and you have to get to the end. I can't work on a piece and come back to it later. I have to finish it. It's just the way I am. I'm a very, very final person. Unless it's a massive, massive piece. I'm doing a massive piece at the minute. It's like, I can't say too much in case anybody hears who's commissioned me, but it's a big piece, and it's going to take me quite a long time to do it.
That's fascinating. And you're not just doing the jewellery. You're also doing bookmarks, and you advance in your skills and in offers.
Yeah, because I can't wire all the time. It hurts your hands, and you get callus. It's a bit like learning to play the guitar or the ukulele. You get calluses on the ends of your fingers, and you lose your nails. You know, I don't know how any of these wire wrapping people have got nails, because mine were just going. And I needed a break, so I looked at what else I could be doing that would incorporate the smaller pieces of sea glass that weren't very attractive, maybe, or that I couldn't use. And I saw resin work, and oh my goodness, I love resin. I paint with it. I put sea glass and shells. And I remember watching somebody, and they're saying, when you start collecting sea glass, people will collect for you. And I was like, oh, that'll take a couple of years before anybody collects for me. And then I get these messages saying, I'm in Fife in Scotland. Would you like me to get some sea glass? And I'm like, okay. And then I'm in the Isle of Harris, or I'm in somewhere else. I'll get you some sea glass. I'll get you some shells. I'll get you some sand. And it's really lovely. And then somebody will be on a local beach, and they'll find things, and they'll pop them in the post. And suddenly I've got these little bits. And it's so sweet. And people are just lovely. You know, they really have taken on. I think you're right, though. This is about the journey. And it's about sharing something from the beginning. And some people would stay away from social media and wait until they're at a certain point before they shared it with you. I could have stayed away from social media and just gone through the learning process by myself for a couple of months. And I thought, no, I'm going to take you on this journey, because lockdown has gifted it to me. And I'm going to share it with you and show you and hopefully inspire you to actually start something yourself. Do something and learn it. I'm doing a jewellery course now because I want to, not because I have to. And, you know, and so I can share that with people. Every Friday I'm going to do a history about a particular piece or style of jewellery, because it's nice to actually share something historic. Sea glass takes at least 20 years to be smoothed. I've got pieces from the 1800s. I have about 7,000 pieces of sea glass now that I've collected. And for me, as a Christian, I thank God for every single piece. All you hear is me mumbling to myself all the way through. And they probably think she's off her trolley, because she keeps talking to herself. But I'm just thanking, you know, universe, God, whatever you believe in, I'm thanking for it. I'm grateful for it. I never take it for granted. And I've just been blessed with it, and blessed with the talent to actually do something with it. I think there is some natural artistic talent there, but I've also been very tenacious.
Absolutely, because it is really beautiful to watch. And when you started talking about the sea glasses, I like when my family wanted to go to the beach, I ran around and I even asked you, where can I find the sea glass? Because that's, like you mentioned, it was treasure hunt. It was much more fun than just walking in the beach.
Mm-hmm.
So we had really good time. We found so many pieces, but they were like tiny little ones.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we've still got them. I'm going to send it to you, but I'm not sure if you got that much. I'll keep it for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it feels like everything's doable when you really, really want to do something.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give to your younger self?
I've been thinking about that today, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when you recognize something in yourself, you can actually push it away. And I've always been artistic and always like to have a go at new things. And I have dabbled in it now and again, but I've never actually thought that I was good enough to actually do something. And I always thought I'm all right at it. And I think there's a part of you that actually says, actually, you're a little bit more than all right, but you don't actually want to admit that to yourself because that seems arrogant. And we've all got gifts that we can share. And I think if you recognize that gift, you have to explore it further and not be afraid of doing that, because fear stops you from being yourself. And I think if I'd had more confidence in my younger selves, in what my intuition was telling me, was saying, you're very artistic, go and explore this, then I probably would have done a little bit more with that.
Mm-hmm. I wonder what our viewers would say. They would give what advice they would give for their younger self as well. I'm very curious,
You've got to take
So,
action.
yeah, and then it would be quite interesting to find out. So, when we talk about the sea glass and collecting sea glasses, it's quite therapeutic,
Very,
and
I
it
mean,
must help like mental health and the COVID, because that's when you started.
yes, because I think when you lose, everybody needs to pay their bills, and I think because of the life I've led, and I know that it's just a matter of getting through something, and it's how you get through it, which is key. And so I do have a generally positive outlook now. I didn't used to. I used to go into sort of a victim mode, and I don't do that now. I think, okay, then, well, what can I do to get through this? The thing to do is to connect with people, help people where you can. That's key. That's the first thing. And when you do that, it comes back to you in the most weirdest ways. So going out for lockdown walks, finding sea glass got me in touch with all of my childhood, like I said, my senses, and actually being grateful for it, bringing it back and thinking, who did this glass belong to? Where did it come from? Was it over a ship? Was it a wreck? Was it the sea glass factory? Was it somebody just tossing it in the water? 50. I've got TV glass from the 1950s, which is two-tone. It's a fascinating subject. And you think about it, it starts as sand. Glass starts as sand, and man makes it into glass.
Yeah.
Glass gets thrown out at sea. The sea does its work and tumbles it and makes it smooth, and then washes it up back onto the sand for you to find and to either collect it and put it in a lovely jar in your bathroom or your kitchen or your living room, wherever you like it. Just fill it up with all these colours of smooth glass, or you take it away and you do something else with it. And that whole process is a meditation, just thinking about the history. When you go into, I live in an 1800s, it was built, this house. And every time I go down the stairs, I think, what hands have gone down the stairs from the 1800s till now? How many pairs of hands, And I always think about that when I pick up a pebble. What is it that's happened with this fossil, or how have these stones combined, and how did they combine in the water? And it just made me appreciate where I live more. I think sometimes I'm a bit of a gypsy and I like to move around. And sometimes you get feelings when you maybe having an off day that the grass is greener by being closer to town or something because of the metro links, and you're always in there. And if you have a night out, you have to go and stay in town because it's cheaper than a taxi and things like that. But then the lockdown said to me, look at what you've got on your doorstep. I'm from the West Midlands. and I only used to see the sea once a year. That's the only time I saw the seaside. And here you are next to it every single day of your life, and you've got fresh air. How wonderful is that? So there was this meditation, this appreciation, the gratitude, the privilege to actually find it, because there's none there at the minute where I go. And they say it comes in springtime, and isn't that weird? Wouldn't you think that sea glass just came with the tides now and again? But springtime seemingly is a very good time. There must be a certain way that tides work that bring the sea glass to you at spring. I don't know how that happens. That fascinates me. I don't know. Somebody tell me.
So basically, you're seeing changes of sea glasses appearing in different seasons.
Oh yeah,
Depending
it's
of the time
not there at the
everything,
minute. It's hardly anything at the moment. In spring, when we were in lockdown, there was an abundance, and also there are many beaches that don't have it. You know, you're not guaranteed to get it anywhere, and not even where it's been in abundance. Maybe see them because the sea glass factory was there, so maybe it's a constant there. But in terms of every other beach that hasn't had a sea glass, where they've threw everything over the harbour wall, it's Puerto Rico is the best place to go and get sea glass. You'd have to get me on a plane, and put me in a coma till I got there. But I'd love to I'd love to go to Puerto Rico to find the coloured glass, and people do amazing things. And I'm in part of 2 or 3 groups on Facebook where they find sea glass all around the world. I have sold within 2 months. My sea glass went to Australia, South Carolina, Spain. There's another place that it went to. Bangladesh, India, and that was within a couple of months. And I thought, wow, this is going somewhere. So, and I'm doing all kinds of things. There's so much coming. It's unreal. It's like I'm full of all this stuff, and I just need to get it out, but I can't get it out fast enough. But then I don't want to run out of things, but I don't think I ever will, because I've got so many projects ahead of me. I've got like 2 or 3 years worth of stuff that I've got to bring you yet. There is so much yet to come.
Oh my God, it sounds amazing. So is it the sea glass jewelry? How popular is it? Because I know you're connected with a few other people around the world.
Yeah, I mean, it is very popular. Excuse me, I just need a drink. It is very popular, but in a way, I think it's because it is unique. Every single piece is unique, and what you choose to do with it. And people are very talented, all around the world. That they do these amazing things, which inspires me. And I know that I've inspired other people to start wrapping glass and having a go. I mean, I'm going to wrap. I haven't done it yet. I've done a couple of pieces. I wrap sea coal as well. Sea coal it's from the northeast, so I can wrap sea coal. I'm starting to paint on sea coal. Some very fine paintings are going onto my sea coal. That's got to come yet. There's so much coming, because as I say, I can't wire all the time. So I have to be very choosy. But I think what's happened with the sea glass company, and I can only speak for myself, is that people have connected with the journey. That's what's made them look at it, because they've watched, like you, they've watched the journey, and they've watched something go from nothing to having commissions now. I've got daily, I sell every single day, I sell. And I'm like, how's that? I haven't got a shop, but I do. But because I share everything, I'm very transparent, and I'll say, look at what I've got here, and I'm making this, and I'm doing that, and I'm doing this. What do you think of this? Do you think I should do this? And just sharing the journey.
Yeah, because I remember you painting your wall on your garden. Is that actually wood? Was it made of wood?
When you've got a yard that looks pretty, it's a garden.
Yeah. So I really would like our viewers to share this podcast, because there are so many talented people, but they just keeping it themselves. They can create their own business, and you will be inspiration for many, because you are a living example. How can we start something from nothing?
Yeah, something. listen to your inner voice. If it says, you know, if something sort of, a little spark is there, it's likely that it can turn into something, and it's unexpected. It really is. All I kept thinking about was my primary business, and this came, and it has been a godsend for me. It's got me through lockdown, and now I've got so much to share with people, and I love the fact. It's quite a responsibility, you know, when somebody said, oh, this is for my so-and-so's 70th birthday, this is for their 60th or their 21st or their 18th or their wedding. That's quite a responsibility. But when they get it and they're so delighted, and you know that your pieces are being worn or used depending on what they've got. You know, I do these lovely coasters as well, and people are putting their drinks on them every day. And knowing that somebody sent me a picture of their home and said, oh, I wish you did wall art. And I went, watch this space. Wall art is coming.
Christmas is coming and wall art is coming.
Yeah, wall art
is too much.
It's not a very well publicized method, I don't think. I'm going to be using, I'm not going to say too much, it's a bit of a surprise because I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Never done it before.
Yeah. And then if you think, you mentioned, because when we had a conversation earlier, you mentioned about all the equipments you bought and all the stuff. It's already been paid off because
because people wanted to buy my stuff, which allowed me to invest and really establish myself, because you are only as good as your tools. And I needed like jewellery pliers and little heat guns to get the bubbles out of resin. And then once you've got, you know, it's not expensive to set up, it's as expensive as you want it to be. So if you want to do a little bit of jewellery, it's 2 or 3 types of pliers. Some white, you can get flower wire, you can practice on copper wire. You know, I haven't even got round to patinaing my copper yet, which is another process which everybody's going to see. And you know, I've got ceramic work to do. Ceramic jewellery's coming on copper. There's all kinds of things coming yet. So I think, you know, it's so lovely to actually have the right equipment and to be able, because it really helps you be more professional. I feel professional now, you know, because I've got the things that help me to make shapes and to do things correctly in the correct way, and help me to do things that look wonderful. You know, it's where your imagination takes you, really, and then the tools help you do that.
Yeah, and then you're studying as well, don't you? Gaining proper qualification on. Is it jewellery making?
Yeah, it's a diploma in jewellery and business. So looking right the way through to selling online, which I'm so glad I'm doing it now. I have to say 3 or 4 months in, because they're asking me to say things like, and how would you do this? And how would you do that in your jewellery business if you had one? And I'm going, oh, I've already got one, I can answer that. So I've done 2 modules, and I'm going to be very proud and tell you I've got 2 distinctions so far. So I'm really happy. I think I'll come out. No, I will come out. I'm not going to say I think. I'm going to be very positive and say I will come out with a distinction by the time I'm finished. I know I will.
Awesome. So, like, if money was no object, what would you be doing now? Would you be still making jewelries?
I think what I'd like to do, what I'd really love, is for a design, maybe somebody, an influencer or somebody who's sort of into fashion, buy a piece of my jewellery. I'd love that. Like, I love Trinny London makeup, and I'd love to Trinny Woodhall to actually buy a piece of mine. That would be nice. But in terms of where I'd be, I'd want to be 6 months in Nice in France. I've always wanted that, and I would help people. I would help people to learn how to do things. There'd be needle felting, there'd be jewellery making, there'd be painting, there'd be all kinds of things. But that's what I'd love to do, is do workshops in the south of France and live there part of the year, because I have got a big family, so it'd only have to be about 6 months of the year, but I'd be very happy to do that.
And I also just remembered you had a raffle to raise money for charity.
Yeah.
Would you like to Tell me about it.
So there's a charity called Cots for Tots, and it's a NICU unit, which is like an ICU unit in Bristol, Royal Hospital, Children's Hospital, that actually basically saved my granddaughter's life, who was born in January this year with a full congenital heart block. And then she developed bronchiolitis, which then turned into pneumonia. And so she spent most of her first few weeks in hospital, and then mum and her got out, and they'd been out 10 days, and we went into lockdown. And because she's high risk, and so is my daughter, they literally were one of those people that were completely self-isolating, couldn't go anywhere or anything. And then shortly after with that, she started deteriorating and her heart started failing. And in April, and amazingly, the doctor for Great Ormond Street Hospital, the doctor from another hospital, and the Bristol doctor were all in the building when Jessica came in with failing heart, and they were able to give her a pacemaker, but it was at the peak of the pandemic. So it was really hard for everybody, especially mum and dad, of course, and mum had to stay at home and say goodbye to her baby over FaceTime. And she didn't know whether she'd come through. So that was really difficult. But NICU looked after them, and the cardiac ward and the respiratory ward, because she had like lung problems still. So she came through it, and we just want to thank them for the work that they're doing, because I've got another granddaughter who's gone through a similar journey. She spent the first 3 years in hospital, 2.5, 3 years, and that was the Royal Infirmary in Newcastle. So we're all very grateful for the NHS, probably a lot more than, a lot of people, I suppose, because we've been very much, well, my daughters have been very much involved with them for a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
So I did a raffle, and I gave away some of my pieces as prizes. And another lady actually who saw that is actually currently doing a raffle today with what she does in her business, raising money for the same thing. She was so touched by Jessica's story. So
You just inspire others to do different things.
Well, I hope so. I hope I do, because life is very short. And
I would say very long.
And we have, I'm 55 now, so I'm really feeling it. It's very short. So I think, and it's never too late, that's the point. I'm 55, and I've just started this. It's never too late to start something new and do something. And I think when you get to my age, you think, just go for it, man. Just go for it. But as a younger self, you're like, but yeah, so it's been, it's interesting times. And I think that, like I say, this last year has taught us to appreciate things a lot more, and each other, and be kind. And I'm getting married this year.
In December.
In Scotland. So I'm going to make a couple of pieces for that event as well. So that'll be interesting. I'm putting myself under the
Would that be
pressure
your wedding
there.
ring?
No, he did ask me. And I went, no, not doing that. But I'll do this bit, maybe a little tiara or something with some sea glass on, because it lends itself well to the colours that I've got planned.
Lovely. Really looking forward to that piece. So
I know, put myself on the spot there.
With your beautiful dress. So where can people find you?
Okay.
Like online and different.
Because you're also flipping wonderful and fantastic and supportive, I haven't got time to build a website. I've started it, but I haven't had time to do anything else with it, because I'm so busy in the studio doing things, which is fantastic. And that's because of all of you. Thank you so much. So at the moment, I'm at the Sea Glass Company on Facebook. And that also has a group where I tend to share probably a lot more, because that's the whole point of a group, is that you give a little bit more within the group. And then I've got an official Facebook page, which is at the Sea Glass Company. I'm also on Twitter, at the Sea Glass Company. Sorry, on Twitter, I'm at the Sea Glass com1. They wouldn't let me have the rest.
All right. Let's add that on our comments so the people, if they want to see.
I'll do it all. Yeah, I'm on
collections,
Instagram. On Instagram, and I'm on Twitter, and I'm on Facebook. I'm not doing anything on Etsy yet because, quite bluntly, I don't need to at the moment. I've got enough to be going on with through social media as it stands, and I've just set up a eBay account because I have an eBay expert who wants to help me get successful on there. They're very, very good, and they help people all over the world. So I'm very lucky to they're my client. So we've done a little bit of trading, and I've given her some jewellery, and she's going to help me out with that. But yeah, so at the moment, I'm very happy where I am, which is on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah. Fantastic. We'll share
Thank
all
you.
these social media details on our comments, please. On the comments. So our John says it sounds really amazing and magical. Absolutely.
It is magical.
Yeah, because I'm just going back and catching up a few comments. Linda's done online learning and gained her curtain certificate. Well done, Linda.
She has.
And
amazing.
Sarah's here. Oh, Linda says bookmarks are lush. Need to order some. And I need to order some too. So you just get the order from here, right? John says, love the pieces. They are fantastic.
Thank you. Oh, yes, we put some up, didn't we? Some pictures. Yeah, and I think what it is I think another thing, if you're a doodler, it's really lends itself well to wiring because basically I'm doodling with wire. And what you see now is nothing to what you're going to see. What's coming, really? This is me at my beginning. And I tell you what, a year down the line, you're going to see the most fantastic pieces. I can't wait to show you. I know I'm drawing, it's in my head. They're very elaborate. They're very statement pieces. I don't, if you're looking for fine jewellery and that's very delicate or that's in the shops, then that's not me, because you can get it in the shops. So why do I need to do that? So my designs are quite unique and elaborate, and they're just they're going to get more complicated in their weaves. I weave and I crochet almost with wire.
Yeah. So our Linda says it's been beautiful to watch you evolve, and Rebecca, and your business build and collection unfold.
Oh, thanks, Linda.
Yeah. So that's be you and be bold. That's Linda's advice for younger self. So yeah, I would highly encourage my friends and viewers or whoever's watching it on replay to start getting Rebecca's jewellery before she gets big. Like her pits will be coming like tens of thousands.
I know, I need to teach people when they say to me, can I have a bit of red? And I'm like, can't get red. I'm going to have to teach them about the colours of jewellery and how rare they are. But yeah, I've got it's a really lovely thing. Do you know what I love the most is when people come to me and they say, right, I want this and I want it in sterling silver and I want this shape and I want this, this and this. Here's the money. Do your thing. Just do your thing. And I get that a lot. Just do your thing, Rebecca. We trust you. And I just think, wow, that's huge trust, when they say, just do your thing. 18 weeks in, do your thing. I want to be able to establish a style that says, that's my piece. That's a Rebecca piece. So we'll see.
I'm sure it'll come very, very soon.
I hope so. It will.
It will. Right. So, yeah, it's been awesome to have you here.
Oh, it's been awesome to be here. Thank you for inviting me. It's been, I get really excited about the sea glass. I am definitely a creative person and I get very passionate about it and I love sharing it and I love bringing something back that's the sea is gifted back, basically, that man has thrown away and the sea is gifted back. So I am recycling and it's a lovely position to be in.
Yeah. Excellent. Lovely to have you here, Rebecca. And I think next week I got Rachel Liu, and she's someone I met through Do Lecture course. So I'm going to be back next week. And thank you, our lovely Rebecca. And we'll see you guys later.
Bye. Take care. Stay safe.
So I end my broadcast.